Hello Sydney people, particularly North Sydney people interested in building a ramp on the Harbour Bridge. I'm in Perth and let's have a look at how they put a ramp and a spiral in over the Narrows Bridge, which leads from South Perth over to the CBD. So that was our ramp. Here's our spiral on the CBD side. Let's go for a bit of a ride and check out how these things work. So here's the Narrows Bridge. It was originally built in the 1950s. It's all made out of concrete, and this is actually 3 bridges rather than 1. So this first bit on the left here is the original bridge. Then in the 1990s they tacked on a railway bridge and did some bridge duplication. Essentially they made a second or third bridge that looked exactly like the original one to cope with extra traffic and all that kind of thing. Now, when they did that, I'm assuming they also tacked on this ramp on the side here. I can't find when this ramp was built, but we will notice that it's actually got the same design principles as the Narrows Bridge itself. Same material, same kind of design features, etc. Now, this is what it's like riding up the ramp from the South Perth side. It's reasonably wide. I don't think it's super wide by modern standards. It could be a little bit wider these days, I guess, but you know, it does the job. The radius of the curves isn't too bad, and it's got that modern feature where it's got like a step, a ramp, step, a ramp, step, a ramp. I think that's for disability access. And so, you know, it just curves around and opens up onto this nice wide shared path that goes across the Narrows, and the path is wide enough for it to be shared by pedestrians and cyclists. So there you go, made out of beautiful 1990s concrete, and it just curves nicely onto the edge of the bridge there. And you can see how it comes out of the kind of shrubbery there, so you don't see all of it. Now, important thing, the bridge is on the left, the retaining wall is on the right, and the bridge faces up against a thing called an abutment. Oh, this is just showing how the old bridge and new bridge look almost exactly the same. Now, I think that's worth remembering because you know, what we're going to build in Sydney hopefully is a ramp next to a retaining wall, not necessarily next to the bridge. And this just shows how the ramp disappears into the bushes. So in Sydney, there's the bridge, and the thing on the left is technically the approaches. That's not actually the bridge at all. And over here, what we're talking about is actually a retaining wall for a road approach, and the bridge starts way over there where that red arrow is pointing. You know, the retaining wall is essentially holding back a big, you know, filled-in thing for the road approaches and rail lines it's on. Anyway, coming off the bridge on the CBD side, that's the CBD over there to the right, we can see the spiral in question to the left. Now, the spiral is not connected to the Narrows at all. It's just designed to get you across 4 lanes of traffic to Kings Park on the other side there. And don't ask me when this is built. I think it was probably in the 1970s when they did all this kind of freeway work around here. It's not that kind of step ramp style. It's the way they used to build ramps, like it's smooth all the way up. The gradient is not as bad as the Anzac Bridge. It's a bit narrower than, you know, you'd expect by modern standards, for instance, and it just disappears into this horrible untrimmed shrubbery. Now, if we come back the other way, what you'll see as I'm going down the ramp is, although it's not very steep, I drift across to the right as I'm going down. And this is one reason why I think ramps are no good, is that the people coming downhill, if they get a bit of speed up, they have the potential to drift across and run into people coming up the ramp, particularly if it's not that wide. So yeah, ramps, I don't really favour them at all. Although this one doesn't take up a lot of spaces and is not too intrusive. So look, there's a ramp, there's a bridge, and just remember, in Sydney we're talking about putting a ramp next to a retaining wall for the road approaches that just happen to go up to the Harbour Bridge itself.